We are live. Are we live? Oh my gosh. I'm getting my life together, clearly. Oh, we got Sarah in the building. All right, I gotta enable this Q&A. Um, what did I do last time? Get the chat going. Can you guys hear me okay? Where's my chat? Let's see. Chat disappeared. Okay, everyone can chat. Type in the chat if you can hear me. Yes, Sarah, what's happening? Where's our accountability call, girl? Girl, what's happening? All the way from Cali. Why haven't we gotten on a call? Christine, hello, hello. Where's everyone from? No, I got some familiar faces in here. You got Raquel in the building from New York. Oh, hold on. You guys, my mic's not connected.
Do a little test here. Test, yes. You know, it's funny. I always find these webinars a little bit lonely because I love feedback and it's like I can't hear a sound, so I have to go by your tech. Yeah, it's more clear, right? Yeah, I think it was like turned off. Let me set myself up. Of course, I'm at a full day today and I'm gathering myself so I can give as much value as possible. What's up, y'all? Earl. Ooh, I love the energy. What up, Earl? That's the energy that I'm looking for today. I definitely at the airport. Is that Deanne? That's real commitment. I love that. You guys, drop it in the chat where how do we know each other besides the familiar faces? And I wish I could change. Why can I change my name? Invested Talent is my agency's name here. I want to see if I can update that to Ruben, but I don't see it. So it's gonna have to be Invested Talent. Cool. Where's everybody from? I have Charlotte. What else? Drop where you're from and continue to engage so I know that like my audio is not going out and stuff. I don't know why the things on this side today. I can't see the colors. In case it goes out. Where's everybody from? So we got San Diego, Vegas in the building, Sacramento, New York. Love it. And how do we know each other? Where did you first hear of this crazy experiments? Linda. Hey, Linda. How do we know each other? Guys, I'm just asking for some feedback and then we're going to get started right away. I promise. Bay Area. Yeah. From YouTube. Yes. That's awesome. I'm glad that YouTube's coming in. Do you find you got decent value on YouTube, Christine? What content would you like me to cover next? Because I have like I have a log of content ideas, like free content. I just want to just record and give away. So I will read the chat if there's something. Let me know, and I will certainly record it. I'm an open book, and I'm constantly learning myself and getting insights. My goodness, did I get some level of insight today? I was speaking to a relocation specialist and I was just drilling her with questions. Cannot wait to share. Tips for improving follow-up with housing specialists. Okay, let me actually pull out my notepad and make sure I include that. And then I just want to give a few seconds and we'll get started right away because I already are 6:07 and your time is the most valuable asset that there is. I'm very conscious of that. But let me actually go ahead and add that to my notes. Tips for improving housing specialist follow-up. Anything else coming into this? Like, what is your intention? Usually we show up for a reason. There's some kind of intention that we have, or at least you should be intentional when you come to these things. And my job is to capture that so I can best serve you. What else? Daily solutions, unfurnished rental changes. Yes. Marcella, you came here for the smoke. Are you going to be on Rachel's call next? Wait, what was that high yes for? Which one? As in you came here for the smoke and you're going to be on Rachel's call? Yes, I'm here for daily solutions. Okay. How to manage the temp housing company's recent changes. Okay, great. Linda, you're here for the smoke as well. So we'll spend more time on that. Anyone who is brand new to this and who's not consuming my content, I think Earl, you had said, been listening to your podcast for a while. Thank you, Earl. Did you leave me a review though? No, I'm just kidding. I promise I won't make this about me. I'm kidding. All right. Let's get active. Janet, recent changes to what's MT? What does that mean? I just want to make sure. Christine, you're new. Kevin, he says he wants the smoke. He's here for smoke. Midterm. Okay, gotcha. Well, this is midterm insurance. So we go a layer deeper. Actually, in terms of content ways to encourage guests to leave a review. Oh, I have a really good one for that, Linda. I think I'll share that with you. And that's actually going to go into kind of what I talk about that I cover in my boot camp. That's a good one. Alien, their new adventure. Okay, cool. Julie, nice to see you again. Always a pleasure. All right, cool, guys. Let's get started. So I do want to level set. I just came fresh from I gave another talk to a 7-figure boardroom mastermind group. It's a buddy of mine. You guys probably might have heard of my buddy Michael Strogren. And I just, it's funny because I was presenting in front of them this past week. And these are seasoned people, tons of properties, even hotels, and they all had the same questions. And so it's in our best service to kind of go over these questions because I do believe it'll help unlock some of the opportunities. And I do want to go over some of the breaking news. So I am going to provide some slides because I am visual, but I definitely want to make this, I'm going to be very attentive to the Q&A. And I want to make sure I pay attention to that to serve you the most in this couple, what did we have? 50 minutes that we have together. So don't want to sell you any much shorter as your time. I just want to get a little bit of context and I want to get right into it, right? So for those of you, I do see some of my mastermind students are in the building. So that's what's up. If I haven't gotten a chance to meet you, make sure you drop a hello. But I at least do want to level set and talk to you about the opportunity that this space really has gotten me really excited about, just because it's changed the game for us. And it's given us also what we don't talk about. We talk about occupancy, yes, 100% occupancy, profitability, yes, but we don't talk about the peace of mind as much, right? Like, that's a real thing because I always say the short-term rental spaces, if I'm booking for 3 nights, I'm expecting everything to be perfect. And as it should be, right? Because if it's not, then rightfully so, I should be upset or have concerns because I paid for these nights to be perfect. And meanwhile, when you're doing a midterm rental, I feel like you have some leeway because they're staying with you for a long time anyway, right? So it's like there's more flexibility. If something goes wrong, they're like, oh, cool, yeah, send someone tomorrow. But when that happens on the short-term rental side, it's like, no. Now you just impacted 40% of my stay. Like if I don't have what I was supposed to have. So that's a peace of mind is one of the things we don't talk about enough in this space. And I'm optimizing for a lifestyle business and peace of mind and win-win situations, which is the most important for me. All right, but enough about me. So helping you 2 to 5x your rental income. I want to just level set on the midterm rental insurance strategy. But before I do, I just kind of want to let you know a little bit about me. You guys probably know who I am, so I'm not gonna go down into the rabbit hole. But just for if you don't know, I am an unconventional experimenter. I usually have my lab coat on. I just didn't even have time to throw it on. It is back here in my lab. This is where I learn from others, educate myself, and execute uh, in a very strategic way. I don't try anything that's brand new. I like to have proof of concepts. And one of the things I talked about, actually, for those of you who like proofs of concepts, you want to talk about a proof of concept. You guys know Blackstone? Anybody knows Blackstone? Drop a one if you know Blackstone. Um, Blackstone. Anybody on the call? No Blackstone. Can you guys still hear me? Oh my gosh. Panic. Oh, good. Assad. Yeah. Okay. So Blackstone, for those of you guys who don't know, is one of the largest private, thanks, Earl. One of the largest private equity firms. And we're talking about billions, right? And when I say I don't like to reinvent the wheel, I like to do things that the big boys and gals are doing, because they are doing extensive market research. They have their analysts. They're spending millions on research and data, etc. Right. So when they're doing something, it's not that so much that I'm going to follow because I don't have the Blackstone big bucks yet. No limiting beliefs, but they are trendsetters, and they've always been for a while, right? So when they're buying up these single family homes or when they're doing all that, it's time for us to pay attention. And you guys may or may not know this, but uh extended stays, the reason why this came up is I was doing my research, because I always like to do that. I like to know who's the audience that I'm speaking to. And this past week I was speaking to hoteliers, right? They own hotels, right? Multiple units. So I was like, how can I best serve them? And I started going down the rabbit hole of extended stays, and it turns out that um that hotel was bought by or I should say extended stay is a brand that buys multiple hotels. And then and then what ended up happening is they Blackstone ended up buying the extended stay hotel brand. And what were they doing? What do they specialize in? Midterm rentals. So even at scale this is happening. You can't even get away from it. But just who I am, I do unconventional experiments that are proofs of concept. I like to execute them. Who do I serve right now? I'm talking to the short-term rental investor. However, with the breaking news, I think there's a whole new pool of investors who can now even tap into this opportunity, which is a bonus. I do think that short-term rental investors will still have an advantage, and I'll tell you why. And why I'm here, to plant the seed on the midterm rental insurance opportunity. But at the same time, let's not kid ourselves. I also have my own interest in this, and I think we don't talk about that enough, right? Like a lot of people who or have these podcasts, etc. Like, what's the ulterior motive? I will tell you mine blatantly. I'm very transparent so that you can kind of take your guard away, and because I believe we should just be transparent anyway. And just like you should always understand that someone has their best interest on the other side, because they do, and it's the exact same thing on the corporate side, which I'm happy to actually show you guys what's in it for the big boys and gals on the other side, corporate. What are, even with this big move, what is their incentive? What is their ulterior motive, if there is one? So I believe in being transparent, so that's important. You guys know who I am. I think for some of you, I do love to do retreats, like the one I just did with the night tight knit groups. I feel like that's where I get the most kind of deep layered relationships. And let me just see 1 second. I have my webinar chat, but I can't see where are my participants at. There it is. Perfect. So I'm very big on relationships building. That's how I've gotten ahead in all my respective experiments. So I'm very strategic, and I've always done stuff like host meetups, interview and podcasts, join mastermind groups. I actually just joined a really really big mastermind group. I invest a lot of money myself. And then I also host a mastermind group too. And that everyone is able to kind of benefit from that, because I believe in doing win-wins. So that's just who I am. I'm a people person. Love to, I always like to say, shake hands and kiss babies. But that what's in it for you. So just so you know, you guys know the Real Estate Experiment podcast. I do retreats. You guys know my partner, Dr. Rachel Gainsborough, not to be mistaken for my life partner, my wife, beautiful wife, Celine, over here on the right. She actually is their COO, was recently able to actually quit her job because of this opportunity, and it's going really well. And she was doing some amazing things as a social media producer at ABC News and Time Inc. That's her background. So this was like a big leap for her, but it was worth it because we showed the receipts. I'm always about showing receipts, right? Author of Hospitable Hosts as well. Love to kind of surround myself with like-minded individuals. That's a book that we co-authored and that I audibled as well. So, but real quick, I want to talk to you about paradigm shift, planting the seed. And this is really big, guys, because I think the mindset about how I see opportunities, like I know even with the breaking news, a lot of people are like, oh my God, freaking out, what's going on, what are we gonna do? And for me, I always think of it like it's all starts with the mindset and the paradigm, right? How you look at things, right? A paradigm is a multitude of ideas that are fixed in our subconscious mind, and those ideas will then dictate what we're doing and what we see. And I talk about that when I talk about the opportunity that exists in this place, right? But first and foremost, my goal is to give you a paradigm shift today. Even if you're in the space already, there's another shift that can always happen constantly. You should constantly work on that shift because it's very similar to what I call the reticular activating system. You buy a Toyota, and all of a sudden a white Toyota, and you see white Toyotas everywhere. That's not by chance. Your mind is designed to look out for things that matters to it and ignore the things that are not important. That's a survival mode, right? So my goal is for you to pay attention to the things that you're not paying attention to in your marketplace, in your business, because once you pay attention to them, you will get more of it and receive more of it. And if that's midterm rental insurance contracts, you'd be surprised that maybe it was right under your nose this entire time, but you were just too busy. I'm an Airbnb operator. I'm a traditional investor. This is what I know. This is what I do. And I'm not pet friendly. Don't even talk about pets. That's a paradigm, right? That's a reality without even thinking. This is how you operate. This is how you see opportunities. This is how you're able to tackle opportunities or lack thereof, not take advantage of opportunities because of your existing paradigm. So that's really important that I focus on a lot of that mindset. And it's the exact same reason why I always tell some of my students or my peers in the space when they're like have a notice to vacate, they're like, oh no, it was so good, it's over. No, wrong mindset. Paradigm shift. Abundance. You'll get a bigger contract. Why? Because it's doable and everyone's done it. I've done it. Anybody can do it. My students have done it. You can do it too. Right. All right. Let's get to the meat of the potatoes, right? I want to go over it. What's in it for you? Why you should be on this call? What's in it for me? What are my intentions? Transparent intentions. The opportunity for those who are not familiar with the midterm rental insurance space. And then I want to get right into the breaking news and then the frequently asked questions. I want to answer those very straightforward. So I want to give as much time as possible for that. And I kind of want to zoom through the rest. There won't be any replays. Sorry. This is a mastermind. Show up and you get what you get. However, I am giving one scholarship for a chosen person. So the more you're engaged, the better it is, because you'll get on my radar, you'll get on my reticular activating system. You will get on my radar for me to pick you to join our midterm rental insurance bootcamp that I'm hosting tomorrow. I am giving a scholarship. That's right. So you don't have to pay for someone because you came and signed up and showed intention and dedication, because many people register for webinars. And do you guys want to know what the rate is? Actually, it's pretty fascinating. Any guesses? What the conversion rate. I'm such a marketer. If 100 people RSVP for the webinar, how many people do you think actually show up? Yeah, it's right around, I would say if you're lucky, 35. I think my list is a little bit more engaging, but yeah, 35, 40, which is kind of crazy, because if you think about that, that's like if you go to work and some people just show up and then some people really take it to the next level, and that's just how some people are, and it's okay because some things come up. Like I'm not like acting like I haven't ever RSVP for something but something hasn't come up. But the thing is, you want to talk about paradigm shifts, most people have the right intention, but like the action is where, like, showing up is half the battle. And then from here, there's people on this call who will not do anything with this information. That's unfortunate, because that's where you get results on the other side, right? I believe you should plant a seed, and then the water is repetition. And then when you continue to water the plant, then soon you have a plant and then you have a tree. But you're not going to just show up and get a seed, because this is really valid information, but it's what you do with it, right? So kudos to you for being here. And that's why I do like to give a scholarship to somebody who does show up, who does contribute. And yeah, My goodness. Good for being here. So real quick, what's in it for you? So obviously the elefante in the room is that there's an Airbnb slowdown, or maybe you're just sick and tired of the headaches. Trust me, I've been there. Claims filed, whether it's parties. We were pretty good with screening, so we didn't have like parties like that per se or at all really. But there is always this horror stories here and there. And by the way, we still leverage Airbnb. We use the hybrid model. We just use it in a very different way. But let's be honest, some of you guys are facing slowdowns, right? Because we are like, I know I have STR listings as well. I've seen how much slower it is. It's not like it was back in the day, like in the Wild West. Some of you guys are facing regulations. My goodness, I feel bad, honestly. I've gone on some consult calls. I'm like, dude, you mean you can't even like 30-day minimum? Or like you gotta like your license is costing you thousands of dollars. Thank God here in Georgia it's only $150. But my goodness, I've seen some crazy stuff like waiting lists, etc. Like it's a real thing, which is kind of sucks because anytime, I mean, it is what it is. You got to have regulations, but I think anytime there's a lot of money involved, government wants a piece of it. So that's just reality. But I am no politician by any means. I steer a hard left away from that, or a hard right. Oh, that was going to get me in trouble. Left or right, people are gonna be like, see, he said it. So let me let me focus on what I really believe in, which is this space. Increasing your occupancy. This is a real thing. Like you really want to increase your occupancy because I hadn't really done the math before I got into this space. I was like, bigger pockets, house hacking, long-term rentals, 200 a door. And then you're like, wait a minute, why would I want to do a short-term rental when it's not going to be 100% occupied? But the math doesn't add up. You got to do the math. You have to do the math. And the reason I say this is you might get an inquiry that's like, well, yeah, but I can get a higher average daily rate. Yeah, but have you done the math on that? Because if you get an average daily rate for 4 nights, that's cool. But what if you got a consistent average daily rate that's a little lower by 20%, but you're 100% occupied for the next 4 months? Does that change the bottom line? It sure does, doesn't it? Right. So increasing your occupancy should be factored into the equation when it comes to your profitability. And that's what I want to talk about. You get to increase your profitability, you get to increase your occupancy when done right. And by the way, let me just put a disclaimer out there. If you get anything from this and you're like, okay, if I do all these things, then it's guaranteed that I'm going to land a midterm rental insurance contract, you got the wrong idea. There is no guarantee. All this guarantees is that you're properly optimized to increase your odds of landing a contract. That's like the exact same way when you're starting in short-term rentals. For those of you who are in short-term rentals, if someone was to actually guarantee that you're going to get an Airbnb booking, that'd be a lie because you can't guarantee that. There's so many factors: supply, demand, choice, etc. However, I can be very, 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 very confident that I'm going to land a contract because I'm properly optimized the exact same way you would be for short-term rentals when you have professional photography, good copy, dynamic pricing. Like all these things matter and increase your odds. That's all that this is. So keep that in mind. There is no guarantee. If anybody online guarantees you, first of all, tag me. I would love to get on a little. No, I'm not about that life. I don't know. I'm not going to act like what am I going to get on a social media battle? No, but I was like, let's talk about this guarantee that I don't know of that exists out there, because there is not. There is, however, very increased chance. How do we know? We're 90% occupied with midterm rental insurance contracts. That's right, 90%. And we were 100%, but we just had a family move on another, and we're trying to get another family in. Like it's like clockwork when you get this thing, right? But it doesn't actually need to take time. It takes the right optimization, right? So reduce the amount of turnovers, headaches. I know that when we have a family in there for like months, oof, peace of mind. Let it just collect the checks and they do not bother you. They're literally so quiet. And because it's a very different avatar, it's not the person that's coming in town expecting things to be perfect. It's the person that is coming from when I say person, it could be a family usually. That's our avatar that's moving from a place where you're completely displaced and they're in need. And so they are forever grateful and thankful. Like the messages that we get from these folks is unbelievable. I'm like, these people are too nice. It's because you have something high of value to offer to them and they do not take it lightly. Because my always magical question is, what is the alternative? Which we'll talk about. Okay. Create local relationships early before it gets saturated. I can't stress this enough. If you're early to this, Like you want to talk about, oh, Ruben, I wasn't there in 2008 or the .com era. I'm not just saying this to say it. I'm saying this because people are catching on and they're moving into this space. And so very similar, you know how you have like a contractor and like you really like that contractor, or you say you like find the right one, you marry it. Same thing, right? Whether it's a vendor that you're a trusted vendor that you like, maybe it's your barber, whoever it is that you're loyal to, it will take a lot for me to shift unless if I there's a decrease in the value that they offer me. Otherwise, I'm sticking with them. It's no different with the relocation specialist. If you become of service and you offer them your property or properties and they like you, people do business with people that they like, right? And so the Joe Schmo that's like, oh, I want to catch on trends and I wasn't early, and it's like I want to squeeze in, and well, those guys, unless they really need you because they don't have the inventory, they're gonna go to the people that they know. So they're gonna go to Julie, they're gonna go to Justin, Kevin, Linda. They're gonna say, "Hey, Raquel, I love working with you. You got anything in this area? Rod, you got anything?" That's who they're gonna go to, right? The people that they know. So it's really important that you foster the relationship early, because just like anything, early always pays the highest dividends. Cool. You guys still with me? Type 1 if you can hear me. 100%. Sorry, I changed that from 1 to 100%, Sarah. All right, cool. You guys digging it? All right, cool. So what's in it for me? Okay, I want to be transparent, because it'd be like, what is this guy up to anyways? Like, why is he see him on podcast? Isn't he busy? Yeah, I am busy. I love this, right? But I'm not like one to be like, oh, like I just from the bottom of my heart. Actually, that's not true. It does fulfill me to help people. But I do have an intention. And part of my intention I like putting out into the universe is I want to build the Airbnb for the midterm rental insurance space. We actually already have a developed website. It's called mtrinsurancernetwork.com. We have homeowners there. And the reason why I build that's my goal is because I realized that when I'm 100% occupied and I'm trying to serve the relationship, when you continue to say no to someone and they're like, hey, do you have anything, Ruben? No, I'm sorry, I don't. Do you have anything, Ruben? No, sorry, I don't. Sarah, do you have anything? No, sorry, I don't. Then they're going to stop coming. So it's actually in our best interest to foster as many relationships with our peers, because now we can kind of send properties to one another. So when I'm open, guess what? My mastermind students will send me leads. When my mastermind students have vacancies and I'm 100% occupied, I send them leads. Now, guess what we're doing? We're creating an ecosystem where they're going to continue to come to us, which serves all of us. Strength in numbers. This is what this is about. So my goal is to then turn that into an OTA platform, which we already have. Right now, it's closed to the public in development. So what do? Pour as much as I can in the community, because it serves us best as a collective. I believe in win-wins, that if I teach you how to do this, when you get a lead and you're 100% occupied, guess who you're going to call? I know, a little selfish, aren't I? You're probably going to call me, which is cool, because now we can kind of figure out. But honestly, also selfishly, I do want to understand where your ache points are, because then it helps me then refine. Remember how I started? I was like, what content do you guys like? What do you need to? Because then I can help more people. And honestly, I believe that if you help as many people in the world, you can have anything you want in the world. And so that's kind of like what I live by. So yes, it does come from a good place, but I also don't want to let this go to waste, that I'm not selling something, because I actually do. So I do have a midterm rental insurance academy program. It's 5K. Some of my students are in here looking at are like, oh my gosh, we got in early. You did. It pays the price to be early. I think Janelle, you're one of my early ones. It's doubled since you've joined, right? I see you're out there, right? So that's a real thing. So that's what I'll say. It pays to be early. I do have a 6-figure midterm rental workshop, which actually Rachel and I put together. That's 5K. And I'm just putting that out there so you know, it's transparent, so that you can focus on the learning, not like at the end, like, all right, guys, here's the pitch. Midterm rental insurance boot camp. I'm actually having a 2-day one that starts tomorrow. It's 2,000. And then I told you about my MTR Insurance Network, which you can go at mtrinsurancernetwork.com. Okay. So I want you guys to know what's in it for me. Those are the things I'm invested in. Some of these guys are some of my students I'm invested in, but really I use the word students lightly because I'm a student. And so really we're just a mastermind group. We lean on each other, and we're able to work together. I call them my partners, right? But I just want to give you some context so you have it. Okay. I will give us actually a special price for the midterm rental insurance bootcamp at the end of this, but everything else is how you guys know what I do, right? Okay, cool. Now let's focus on the good content, right? That you came for. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Okay. So remember, I told you about the paradigm shift. Like, I was having a fascinating conversation, and those of you on the call, I've mentioned this before, but I think it is a fascinating kind of thing to look at, because we can all look at this home and see, depending on our paradigm, see different things, right? You can have a traditional investor, or sorry, a yeah. Oh my God, Earl Nightingale. Yes. Actually, this is Wayne Dyer. Deer. Deer. Wayne Dyer. How do you say his name? You probably know Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yeah, Wayne Dyer. There you go. So traditional family sees this home primary residence. Cool. An investor looks at this home, again, it's the exact same home, no different home, sees it as investment property, is thinking, let's go traditional rent. What are my traditional? What's my rent roll? Let me look at it. Not rent roll, rent schedule. Oh, cool. This is what I can rent it for. Cool beans. Another person looks at this. Look at this. You know what? I'm about to furnish this bad boy. We're gonna run the Airbnb play, right? AKA short-term rentals. Cool. So you guys see what I'm doing with the this? By the way, this is how all of us humans look at life, right? And when I say I go deep into this stuff, I'm very passionate about it. I could go deep into it, but that's not what this is about. But the reason where you are today is because of your paradigm, no different. This is like the craziest breakthrough. Like, there's some people that make, and money is just a marker. It doesn't really, it's just a measuring stick. So I think it puts things into context. It's not what it's all about. There's like fulfillment, there's passion, there's all these things that matter, right? But I just want to help you for a second realize that if you're not getting what you want or the result, it's because of your paradigm. You're not even allowing new opportunities. You see things one way and you're not seeing it another way. Because if you look at this example, it's a very simple one, and it's pretty scary when you think about it, because all this property is the same, but you know, Samir might look at this differently. Melissa might look at this differently. And so I think that's one of the most fascinating things. And it all starts with having the right information, right? That will allow you to change your paradigm. And then you need to review that information. So I know some of you guys are coming in here, you've been in this webinar before. Good for you. You need to continue to consume information and then act on it. And then it becomes part of your paradigm, right? Does that make sense? Type one if that makes sense. Have you guys started this stuff before? Is this cool? Yeah, it's real stuff. It's unbelievable. It's changed my life completely to change my paradigm. And I'll gladly share with you the book that I'm listening to. It's fascinating, isn't it, Linda? So another person sees this as an investment property, midterm rental, right? But we don't stop there. Another person sees this as a midterm rental insurance home. Now, why is that? Well, I'll tell you, our old truth. And by the way, just for context, guys, like some of you guys are in vacation rental markets, these numbers might not mean anything to you, right? And so just take it with a grain of salt and keep in mind that there is a valuation that we use. Because some of you guys might look at this and be like, 5,000, I get that in a day over here. Cool. Well, you probably get more by understanding the value of your home, which we'll get to in a second, that allows you to then justify how much you can charge per month. Okay. But just for context, this is all data right here, exact same property. I'm gonna pull a case study so you can see it. This one property, traditional rentals, literally was projects to make 200 to 500 in cash flow. Short-term rentals, 1,000 to 1,700. How do we know? Because we ran it as short-term rental. And now midterm rental, this is what we're making, and we're actually netting 5K a month on just one door, right? That's one of many properties. So I just want to show you, this is the one, you guys have seen this before. This was actually one of our first short-term rentals that we bought. This is what is called a rent schedule. This is essentially the appraisal version of a of rent. So literally someone will drive around and and calculate this value. So they're telling me that, Ruben, your mortgage is 1763 with a traditional rental, you can charge 1870. That's how I got 107. Okay. Type one if that makes sense. Cool. So the second opportunity is, we actually ran this as a short-term rental here, right? We got our licenses, everything. We ran it as a short-term rental. You can see the numbers here. That's 1 month. This is another month. So we're right around that sweet spot, right? I'm all about showing you guys receipts. I'm happy to get even more granular, but I don't want to be so high level. I want to show you the math because I hadn't done the math. So this is when we got just in the short-term rentals, guys. Just in short-term rentals, we're like, wow, this is really cool. We're making just under 2K net. And I know some of you guys are different markets. You might make more than this. So we're gonna put that into context for you. But anyways, who is there anybody who wouldn't take an extra 2K versus who would not who would take 2K over 100? Type 2K in the chat just so we're on the same page here. We're speaking the same language. Okay, cool. Because some of you guys might be like, no, I don't want the short-term rentals. Some people are actually like that. They're like, no, okay, cool. Not me. I mean, I told you I'm trying to get the Blackstone level. Long-term rentals ain't gonna do it. And maybe short-term rentals won't do it either. We'll see. We'll find out. So this is one of our contracts, and that's funny because they actually just sent another extension this month, which was fascinating. Because they actually said they were done and then the work was not done. So you're getting 7,285 on this same property, 1763. Mind you, I'm rounding it up for utilities, but yeah, we're just pocketing this every month on one property, and it's been like this since June. Just to put things into context, literally no turnover. We'll be like, oh yeah, the Orkin people came by. Orkin is like pest control. Cool. Let them know when they're coming in. Literally completely hands off. Type 1 if you want some more of that action. Oh my God. Right. So now, guys, I can't tell you, like, if I didn't know and educate myself on this opportunity, then you know what my old paradigm would be? This. And you know, if I didn't get into short-term rentals, you know what my old paradigm would be? Is this. So now just think for a second, like let this sink in. I promise I won't get emotional, but I always like to think in my life, like, what are some other areas in my life that I'm operating in this traditional model versus this accelerated other model? Can you just think about that? Because this is just real estate. Life's not that like real estate's not that serious. It's part of life, but it's not that serious. Now just take a zoom out for a second. I want to make this, if you don't get anything from this, like make it personal. Maybe I plant the seed for some other breakthrough in your life. What other areas in your life do you feel like you're actually not maximizing and getting the most out of it with the exact same asset that you have? Maybe the asset is your mind. Maybe it's the relationships that you have. Let that sink in for a second. Ooh, didn't think we get this deep now, did you? Yeah, let that sink in. All right, cool. All right, let's get out of it. Was like people are crying and stuff. Breakthroughs. I feel like this is like to try to make this like a Tony Robbins event or whatever. So, anyways, our reality is like this, right? This is a constant thing we've done over and over. But like, let's talk about how am I calculating this, because that's gonna matter the most, and that's usually where the questions come from the most. And then I want to get definitely into some of the Q&As and the breaking news, right? Because I know this, you guys came here for the smoke, but I had to level set a little bit, right? How am I calculating this monthly rate, guys? Loss of use, additional living expense, and coverage D is what is allowing me to calculate this. For whoever, just to keep for context, because some of you guys who have investment properties, you might be like, hey, Ruben, like I looked at my insurance policy and I'm not seeing any of this, right? Because you know, the question, the where you find the loss of use additional living expenses is for if you own a primary residence in a market. It will then have a primary residence allows to have an additional living expense for the homeowner when an unforeseen circumstances occurs, right? If you have an investment property, all you will see is rental loss, right? So that won't give you some good context. But however, there is napkin math that you can do. So take this down. If you ever get an inquiry in your zip code, right? And I do this all the time. I was just on a call with CRS, temporary housing today, and they gave me a zip code. The cool thing you can do, you can go on Zillow Rental Manager. If it's in real time, you can ask, you know, where is the home? How many bedrooms? That gives you some context, right? Are you guys following me here? This gives you some context of the kind of comparable, and it gives you the value of the home. So let's say you know a specific area and you go homes in that area. I mean, if you know your area, good for you, and you should. But let's say homes in your area are worth 400,000 on average, and they're coming from a home that's a 4-bedroom home, and that's usually right around average. Now remember, you're going to want to go with comps, because comparables will then allow you to do some quick napkin math. Because if the home is worth $400,000, right now, this isn't accurate math by 100%, we'll get to in a second, but if I take 20% of what is called coverage A, which is the dwelling value, of that home, it then allows me to identify how much I could potentially charge. Because if I take for 20% of a $400,000 home, it means I have $80,000 worth of additional living expense. The math on that means that coverage D will cover anywhere from 20 to 30% of the coverage A, which is the dwelling value. And not to be so confusing and overwhelming, that just means what the home is worth. So if someone comes to you in an area and it's $400,000 home and they're saying we want to relocate for 6 months, and you do this quick napkin math, you say what's 20% of 400,000, and you get 80,000. You're like, you got to relocate for 6 months. Let me divide that by 6, and you get $13,000. It's not unreasonable for you to be able to charge that much. Say got it in the chat if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Don't worry, Samir, I got you. I got some slides for my people in the back. So I'm going to get into that. It's not so much that there's natural disasters. Great question. So Kevin, you're asking 80K for the whole year or 6 months? Okay. So the way these things happen is per claim. The $80,000 is per claim. So if the work takes longer, and this is a great question because the insurance company is always going to want to play it safe. If they think it's going to take 8 months, then what would that mean? Then it's 10K per month. But the insurance company is also not going to want to give you 13K off the bat, because what if it takes 12 months? Well, now you've exceeded your loss of use. So they're going to be a little bit more on the conservative side. But now keep in mind, this is what we need to keep in mind, right? Because it's a great question, Kevin. Keep in mind that they're playing within that ballpark. So if they know the work's going to take 6 months and they want to put a little buffer on that, and you say, well, my price then is 9K a month, can they afford you? That's a question for Kevin. Kevin, you want to answer that? Yeah, right. They can, because that's just around for 9 months, 8,800, right? 54K, is that what it is? Yeah. So so they can afford, Drew, right? Because we're saying yes, exactly. So there's a few ways. So this is how you kind of base your price, because sometimes your price gets approved, and is the reality, could you have actually gone for more? Yeah, sure. But at the same time, they have their cap. And it's so funny because just within the last 24, 48 hours, I've had relocation specialists tell me what they're budgeted for. We're budgeted for. I had one come in today for 6,600 a month or 5,500 flat out. And that's why I actually love to contact them on the phone, because I can get that real time data. I've actually gone in a negotiation where I'm like, it's going to be, what did I say? I said for one property, 265 a day. And I like to do daily values. Here's a quick tip, because I like to get more out of my 31-day months than 30 days. You get an extra day of bonus pay. That's why month is a strict fix. So I always go by the day value, because I like getting raises. Change the way you look at things you look at change, right? So let's say, except February. Yeah, I guess in the beginning of the year. But don't be a penny wise and a dollar foolish, right? Because, if they stay for 6 months, 12 months, right? Then how many other days have you made up? But yeah, 100% right. Kevin, you're on the money today. You're on the ball. You're not going to catch me slipping. Okay, I got you. Let's do it. So, but 100% right, Kevin, right? But that's what I look at. October 31st, right? November 30th, December 31st. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second, the Q&A. Would you keep the cleaning and pet fees monthly? I do like to keep a monthly cleaning as an add-on, because not everyone can approve that, because especially I had a family once tell me that the 265 would break their budget. They got approved for 260. So you add the cleaning in fee in there and it breaks the deal. I like to keep my everything included, and that's why I charge a premium. However, I do recommend you getting access to the property throughout the year, because that's a good way for you to have visibility to the property. But then I do one deep clean at the end. But I do add monthly cleaning fees as an option. Pet fees are one time. Cool. So how are we calculating this monthly? This is, again, guys, look at your again, you have a primary residence. Look at your loss of use. You see that number right here? That's exactly 20%, right? Let me just check my math, because it's a ballpark between 20%. There you go. Boom. Right on the money. Coverage D, 66,000. Remember, it's the dwelling value. Those of you in California, keep in mind that your dwelling value and your land value might not be the same. If you paid 1.6 for your home, find out how much that land value is, because you're paying a lot more for the land, right, Sarah? That's like a real thing. Well, you're not, you're in Cali, but you got other properties out of state. But yeah, right. That's something to keep in mind. So loss of use, additional living expense. See, this is actually 30% of this, 92,000. That gives me a range, a ballpark of how much I can charge. Type 1 if that's starting to make sense. Simi, are you coming back with me? Does that make sense? It's the 20% of the home's value. Samir, I need dwelling. What dwelling? You see right here, coverage A says dwelling. Oh yes, I'm so sorry. You're asking me a question here. I'm worst teacher in the world here. I'm like dwelling, yelling at it as if that's gonna work. Sorry, Samir. Yes, dwelling equals building, right? That's the actual material. See this way. I'm good. All right, perfect. I just want to make sure everyone's good. Any questions there? Because this is very important. This is how you can do your napkin math. Like this is a really powerful tool now that you have in your paradigm. Well, it's not in your paradigm yet. Now you have a seed. You got to water that plant though. You got to start looking around properties. 20% of that. Cool. Because I know right when I get on the phone, how I can start negotiating based on what the market values in my marketplace. And I have like a cheat sheet that I offer, that I have as well, that I know my mastermind students have access to that as well. You can do the same in your market, right? So again, remember, there's no guarantee, right? But there's at least 3 things. And it's the right asset, the right databases, the right optimization, right? I'm not going to go all over them because I think, well, I'm going to go at least over the right databases. So take a screenshot of this if you're not familiar with it. So, because I do want to get to the Q&As, but basically the right asset, if you ask me, it's my avatar is families, right? So I think I'll tell you my criteria right now, and you can take these notes. This is my criteria in my market. I don't do buildings. I don't do apartments because I want to solve a larger problem. And you get paid in proportion to the problems that you solve. So I want a large bedroom, 4 to 5 bedroom home, fenced in backyard, master on main, no carpet. That's usually what I go for. Why do I do master on main? Because some people can't use staircases. If I can do 2 entrances, one that does not involve any staircases, I always do that. Why do I want a fenced in backyard? Because it has to be pet friendly. Why do I want 4 to 5 bedrooms? Because it's a larger problem to solve and it's hard to move a family of 5 with 2 dogs into a hotel. Cool. Did that make sense? So I want to go over kind of is that boom. All right, here's the breaking news. And guys, just for fun, I was having fun with this. I put a little like breaking news, like theme song on my Instagram. Who follows me on Instagram? Guys, drop me a follow. And you know what? Actually, take a picture of it, put it on your stories. Because again, this is my own personal interest that I'm sharing with you here. I like it. I kind of like social media. It's pretty cool. And I've made so many connections on social media, like even deals. I've closed deals on social. So I love the engagement. So tag me, be like, Ruben, we love your webinar. But this is where I want to get to. Okay. So my handle is that real estate experiment. I just put this up because having a little bit of fun. But this is breaking news because we had an internal session with Ailey Solutions. We have some context there. And they've basically announced that they're pushing forward with unfurnished properties. Fully furnished options are also viable, right? Our relocation specialists will continue to work with vendors, landlords that are fully furnished, and our search specialists will work directly with landlords on unfurnished. So what does this really mean? Okay, so we actually had a huddle this Sunday with some of the leaders in the space. You guys know my boy Jesse Vasquez. We had Vivian, we had Jamie, we had Dr. Rachel Gainsborough. And so what does that mean for us? So first I want to just take a second so you guys can just take this in, maybe take a screenshot. This is straight from the source. This is an in-house. I'm actually meeting with a in-house connection tomorrow on a meeting with her. And so, but just so all that this means, because it's interesting. I was actually reflecting on this. I'm like, why are people freaking out? Like, this is literally great news. This means, in my eyes, that there's not enough inventory, guys. Like when I got to relocate a family of 5 with 2 dogs, I can't find anything that, you know what we got to do now? These Airbnb people are just not ahead of the curve. They're still on Airbnb. And when we look at calendars, they're not available because they don't duplicate the listings the way Ruben teaches, right? And okay, that was the first time I've ever spoken third person. That was kind of wild. So I apologize. But the reason I say that is because I'm constantly echoing that. That's like my thing. You guys know my mastermind students like duplicate your listing. The number one challenge that people have is that, and when I say people, relocation specialists or families trying to relocate, and I literally just had this as a win in one of our mastermind chats, is because when they're trying to look at the calendar, you're too busy hosting Airbnb people that when they look for like an opening for the next 2 months because they need to relocate due to water damage, you don't show up. Now, the cool thing is, and this is why I love this, and this is why I have an entire workshop that I'm doing around this, because as you can see, it's already been an hour. I wish I could cover everything, but I can't. Is literally the simple thing that you have to do as a short-term rental operator that already has a furnished accommodation. You don't have to stop anything that you're doing. Just create a second listing that will be completely wide open for them to be able to find and reach out to you so you can land the contract. At least give them the option to reach out. That way, if you got some things you got to move around, be like, oh my God, 6 months. I just did the 20% rule. That would come in at like $9,000 a month or whatever your value is. Maybe it's 13,000 in your market, 15K. I don't know, with respect to your margins. But that is literally the number one thing you should be doing. That if you don't get anything from this, take that, be available to them. And please, if there's anyone who is not pet friendly, is not for the pets on this call, I am so sorry to hear that, because you will miss out on so many opportunities because that is what they're facing. Can't find furnished accommodations, check the calendar, nothing's available. Go on Furnished Finder. Landlords are like, I don't do, again, this is the old paradigm. You guys ready for the old paradigm? I'm going to mock the traditional. This is what the traditional investor looks like. I'm just having a little bit of fun here. I'm not going to be pet friendly and I only do 12 months. Paradigm. Missing out on tons. You're telling me right now, if I showed these numbers to a traditional long-term rental investor, that they wouldn't be interested. I mean, unless if they don't, then why are they even renting it out for a couple $100? That's why they're in the space, to make money. And not all of them are. So maybe power to the ones who aren't, but most of us are trying to build assets, trying to build some portfolio, build wealth. And again, it goes back to the root of the call. We're not just making money on people's back. We're solving larger problems. So if a family needs to relocate, you're solving a larger problem. And this to me is showing me that there's not enough inventory in the market, because short-term rental operators are not even optimizing for this opportunity because they don't know any better, but not you, right? So now, where do I see this actually opening up tons of opportunities? Hello, my arbitrage kings and queens. You realize that now all you have to do, if I knew all these homeowners, I'd literally reach out to them. First of all, you can get access to MLS, or you can even get access to Zillow Rental Manager or anything. I would just start building my connection. Be like, hey, I noticed your thing's been sitting for a while. Would you, again, education is the disconnect between the paradigm. There's an opportunity here to either make an introduction, get familiar, and say, hey, if I came to you, just vet them up front with a 3-month stay at this amount. Would you accept it? Why? Because I'm actually in this space and this is what I do. If they say yes, add them to your database. My gosh. Because when you do, then all you do is you do the markup. I do this. We don't do that as a main model. We do this as a co-hosting model with some of our trusted partners that we have. And they're super happy, right? We own most of ours, but we'll do this as a leverage play. And it makes so much sense. To me, this is a slam dunk. It's like, this is an opportunity that, think about it, traditional investors don't know about, short-term rental people don't know about. So now, right now, you're super early, where now you can even submit a bunch of properties in unfurnished properties into a database, get a call, be the point of contact, reach back out to the owner and be like, hey, listen, remember the thing I was telling you about that I give you a call when I found something? I found something. You're still available? By the way, worst case scenario, they're not. You know what you tell the relocation specialist? Sorry, that property is not available. There's literally zero risk. This could be its own course. I feel like I could be the marketer, like, you know, the midnight commercials. Do you guys get targeted like I do? It's like, there's this opportunity. It's not arbitrage. It's not short-term rentals. It's not that. You don't need any of your own credit. And this is literally one of those situations. I feel like, should I do that, guys? Should I sell out and make one of those ads? Tell me. Isn't this crazy? It feels like a scam. But I mean, to me, that's the opportunity. And then for us, now here's where it's still beneficial for us to own short-term rentals. The ones who do, here's okay. Like, Ruben, why are they doing this? Okay. The reason why ALA Solutions is doing this is because it actually saves. Okay. ALE Solutions is not an insurance company. I just want to be super clear with that, right? Let's not be confused for those of you who are just maybe this is for the first time. State Farm, Allstate, all those guys in big insurance corporations, they don't have the time to find Melissa or Margaret and be like Marcella, be like, hey, do you have a property available? Guys, we're talking about like billion-dollar corporations. So what do? They hire an ALE Solutions to find those kind of properties for them, which then means that I was actually going somewhere with that, which then means that if they're doing all that, they are the ones who are getting a markup, right? So they go to you, they go to Janelle, they go to Julie, and be like, hey, what's your fee? You might be like, my fee, Julie, you might be like, Ruben, it's, well, not Ruben, Ailey Solutions. So I work for Ailey. Julie might tell me that Ruben, it's $300 a day. Okay, cool. Ailey Ruben that works at Ailey Solutions will go back to the company, the Allstate, we'll call it Allstate to make it simple. Be like, okay, cool. We found you something for $325 a day. What? That's right, guys. It's the middleman. That's what they do. They just mark up their fee. So now what they're saying is, yeah, we had to switch up, Tiana. We had to switch up. We started at 6. We sent a few emails out. So sorry about that, but definitely reach out if you have any questions. We'll make sure we take care of you. So then what happens is they mark up their fee and they get in the spread. And guys, this is a $100 million company. So now they're like, huh, what if we made money on the furniture? Why don't we get these furnished providers, right? And create a partnership with them. And the more we work with them, the less it costs us to furnish a place, which means that now when we're writing the number to Allstate, we'll be like, with furniture included on our end, they'll just tack on the fee on top, right? So you see what they're doing? They're just getting a larger piece of the pie. And so this is definitely a call that came from corporate. And Tiana, you came at the right time because this is the breaking news if you're into this space. This came from corporate. Corporate's like, we want to increase our, when I say corporate, like higher executives, we want to increase our occupancy. Oh, sorry. We want to increase our top line and our bottom line. Therefore, let's partner with these furnished accommodation providers. And when I say furnished accommodation providers, I mean like court.com. That's a furnished vendor so that they can create, get kickbacks from them and increase their spread on all these deals. Does it possibly mean that we could then start getting less when it's a unfurnished accommodation? Sure. But you guys also know that the additional living expenses is not going anywhere. And you being one of few properties could still solve that problem. So you're still going to have an advantage if you can find the inventory for them. And let's keep in mind that while corporate made this decision and it's good for their bottom line, the tenant, displaced homeowner, still needs to sign off on which property they choose to stay in. And from what I've heard, the court stuff and all that stuff, it's not that great quality. And those of us who are savvy and have really nice furnished accommodation rentals that finish like really nice Airbnbs will still have the upper hand. Let's keep this in mind, right? To then most likely close on these deals because we have the ability to finish better and we have a better product. Right. So keep in mind, there's still an incentive for us to be furnished because they're not saying they're going to do one over the other. Now, it might transition into that. We got to keep our eyes on that. But the two now coexist. Does that make sense? Type 1 if that makes sense. Yeah, so keep in mind, Samir, that the 20%. So the question here for furnished MTR, we have 20% of the dwelling value. Is it the same formula for unfurnished? It's the same formula for unfurnished because it's the dwelling value. It's not dwelling plus furniture value, right? And good question, but it doesn't, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't impact that. What they're getting a piece of now is what value they, remember, we're charging them a premium because furniture is included. So now they're like, why don't we find cheaper or lower rates, right? So we can mark our premium on top, find our furnished vendor, and then get a kickback fee or make money off the furniture as well. Does that make sense? What happens when family doesn't like the furniture Ailey provides? That's a great question. I don't have the answer to that question, but I can tell you the family has got to put it this way. Julie, you get to walk 2 properties. One, do you know why? Do you actually, let me take a step back. Do you actually know why they stage homes in real estate? Anybody? I'm a real estate agent. Not like an agent, but I'm licensed. I don't know, I have a thing with agents. I love agents to death, but it's like I don't really identify as an agent. Is that crazy, Sarah? Call me crazy. Sarah's an agent too, but you're not an agent. You're an investor with a license. Yeah, exactly. Sarah hit the nail on the head. So the Sarah. So yeah, so the wow, slow down here. So yes, so the buyer can picture themselves living in the property. That's right. So Julie, if you walk a property and it's fully furnished, you see everything, you're like, wow, this is awesome. I like this one. Ailey, I like this one. And then you walk another one that's unfurnished and you can't really picture anything. You don't know what it looks like, etc. Which one are you going to pick, Julie? Yeah, the furnished property. Thanks, Sarah, for the assist. Exactly. Right? Most of us will because we can see it. Why are we going to take a chance? We're like, by the way, the property that you just walked, we'll get all this furniture ordered once you sign on the dotted line. I'll go with the furnished one. Now, here's where things change and get interesting for us. What happens when there is not a short-term rental in that area at all? Then obviously an option is better than no option, right? Does that make sense? Type one if that makes sense. Any paradigm shifts at the moment? Any paradigm shifts? Not yet, huh? All right. So the action items, for me, it's I would when thinking about the total coverage, would the cost of furniture cover that total available to host the family? So that's a good question. You wouldn't have to worry about that, but I know what you're asking. You're like, because it's already coming out right now. So by the way, additional loss of use, guys, just so you know, is the additional cost that the insurance company is going to pay for you to relocate. So you realize that if you're now commuting an hour to work and you drive a gasoline vehicle, that sounds crazy. You know I'm an EV guy. A gasoline vehicle. That sounded crazy just now. You drive a vehicle and you got to fill up the gas, right? Um, you can charge that back to your insurance company. This is an additional living expense that was no longer that was not an expense I had to deal with before I had to do this move. You see what I'm saying? You need to eat out because you don't have your kitchen and you haven't found a home yet. That's an additional living expense. So that $90,000, $80,000 covers all that. So yes, technically it would, but really, as a displaced policy holder, you don't have to worry about that. Like we don't even know what the entire line items looks like. We actually happen to be as the investors. We're only worried about what they can pay to us from a housing perspective. There might be tons of other items that we don't even account for. They might say that, hey, my monitors got messed up. I need it for work and I don't have my home office. I need a new set of monitors. Maybe you can go to your insurance company and they'll pay for it if you have to pay for new ones to reimburse it. I don't know the details of that. There's a lot of different things. I can't access my car. I need to take a cab. I need to take a rental now because my car got damaged through the garage, etc. Additional living expense, right? So actually the car thing might be tricky because they're like, Ruben, that's not living expense. So here, now I've gone down a rabbit hole that I don't even need to care for, right? Because I'm worried about what the loss of use from a real estate perspective, but there's plenty of dollars that go towards the additional living of expenses or loss of use. So okay, cool. If you're an agent, any conflict of interest with your license? Not sure what conflict of interest. As long as you disclose it, I think some brokerages will disclose what you need to disclose. I know I'm always disclosing myself as a relationship that I am the owner of my LLC, etc. That's what I always do. I say price LTRs. Oh, Vivian. Price LTRs higher. Vivian is a beast, y'all. Y'all need to go tap in with Vivian. And thank you so much for getting us that huddle because that's the lovely Vivian right on my left here on the screen. I say price LTR is higher so that it's not worth it for them to rent unfurnished. That's an interesting conversation. Yeah, but this you're trying to run like a coup, Vivian. Like everyone price her. The thing is, having these LTRs. I think you're saying for your portfolio, right, Vivian? Like if you own some that are unfurnished, we don't own some that are unfurnished, so this is kind of new avenue. I think my biggest key takeaway, I'm going to give you guys some juice here, is, I would double input into the database. Here's the biggest hack of tonight, right? And I think we came up with this, Vivian, you're on the call. I would be submitting my property twice in their database, one furnished and one unfurnished. That way I show up twice anyways. And you should be doing that on a monthly basis. That's my hack of the night. Take that. Do you see scenarios where Ellie says rents should be LTR rents? Budget cash overs because no furniture. Well, it's gonna okay. So sorry about that. I should have been reading that out loud. Do you see scenarios where Ellie says rents should be LTR rents, $500 cash flow versus furnished rents of 2K, 3K cash flow because no furniture? Okay, here's the reality. So Samir, I do think there's gonna be a lower adjusted rate for sure because furnished is a big. I actually was talking to an insurance adjuster. He was saying that. Oh, I had in my notes. He was saying that furniture usually accounts for half of the rent. I think it was pretty interesting number. I'll try type it in my notes and I'll send it on to my email list if I'm gonna have to remember that. It was something to that extent, which meant that yeah, you are paying a premium for all utilities to be on. All like that's a lot. Now keep in mind, like yes, it's gonna be lower, but that's also their challenge. Where are you gonna find unfurnished rents? Where and I heard they're gonna pass it on because I spoke to someone today at CRS about this, and they're not doing that per se, but CRS also prefers unfurnished. I had a conversation with them, and the goal is 1 to 3 months they go with furnished. Outside of that, if a family's got to be relocated for like 6 to 12 months, then they'd rather rent out the furniture for longer, etc. But now the challenge you're facing, or it's not really a challenge, but now the tenants need to turn on the utilities, etc. So it's not a seamless approach. It's not as smooth, but they're putting that on to the tenants, and then the tenants can bill back their insurance company. So it's more. There's a reason why you're paying a premium 100%, Samir, because it's turnkey. I just had someone in my mastermind. Is Uche on here? Uche just closed on a deal today. You can't close on the same deal today. I've had a family move in on same day. You can't do that on unfurnished. They're going to need to set it up, which they can do pretty quickly, but then you got to turn on utilities. Have you been on a waiting phone to set up utilities? You got to do all that. You're not moving in the first day. Those are all you pay. You get paid a premium based on the problems that you solve. So there's a lot of things to keep in mind here. We're not even talking about like having pest control or like internet set up. Like family's not going to move in without internet these days. It's like water. Right. So this is why you're still at an advantage. Let me see here. Let me get to this question. Could this potentially get rid of your ability to use the hybrid model? No. How so? Justin, care to elaborate? It doesn't. Okay. So guys, it's not like now we can't do what we're doing. It's in addition to. I want you guys to start thinking it's an abundance. It's not like I think everyone looked at this news like, oh, this has changed. This doesn't change what I'm doing. It adds another opportunity in the marketplace. That's how I see it, right? Like I don't see this as like, oh, do I need to stop what I'm doing? No, because furnished accommodation is still going to be a premium product over an unfurnished rental. Now, if they find an unfurnished rental and undercut me, sure, you could make a point that, yep, now you're going to get beat out. But like, I don't look at it like that because I wouldn't have gone started an Airbnb space because I'll say, well, a nicer property is going to outbook me. Yeah. Get a better pictures, like get more competitive, offer a better premium product and you will stand apart. And they're going to have to face this reality. Right. So, it's not like one or the other. It's just now there's two options. Let me just follow here. I'm trying to do my best with following, meaning you would do 2 listings and remove the furniture of the housing specialist. You would do 2 listings and remove the furnishing of the housing specialist and proposing once unfurnished. Look, that's an interesting scenario that we haven't gotten there because I would ask you as a homeowner, what is your opportunity cost? Is it worth it for you to move your furniture? And look, we're not at a point where they're going to do that. Oh, okay. Shouldn't say that. They prefer unfurnished so they can make more money. But if they find the right fit and you're the only fit, you are now the product and the prize. Remember, we are the prize. We are the solution. So don't think of it like we're doing anybody a favor. They need us and we need them too, but they need us more. So my question to you as a business operator is what is the opportunity cost of you unfurnishing your property, taking a lower rent, and then housing it where? Are you paying for a storage? Does the math add up? Because then for me, it's a hard no, right? Because I'm not going to just do it to do it. Right. So it has to make sense. I think my key takeaway from this is that, yes, if they're able to get a hold of inventory that's unfurnished, could we possibly be losing some rentals? And again, this is where my mind rarely goes, losing to. Sorry, that's just not where my mind goes. But could that be a reality? Yes. If there's two properties that are identical, one is furnished, one's unfurnished, and they have the ability to go to the unfurnished property, yes, they could potentially pick that one. The only thing you got to keep in mind is, what if they present to the family the two options and the family then picks my furnished one? Then they have to go with what the family picks. So just keep that in mind as well, because at the end of the day, the family has to sign off, or the family can visit unfurnished one and be like, we don't like that one, next. That happens to us all the time. People, well, not all the time, we are closers. Happens to us several times, though. It's just a reality. No matter how nice our properties are, be like, it's not a good fit, next. That happens. The policyholder gets the final decision. Let's see. If you list your property as unfurnished, Ellie, but it is unfurnished, would you offer to get rid of all the furniture? No, I would not. I would not remove furniture. Day one, call and find a property that is unfurnished. Day two, realtor has to convince their client that they could rent their property for 1 to 3 months. This is true. I think that's where the opportunity is, though, for those of you guys who are go-getters. Like, educate your homeowners on this opportunity. I think if you show the opportunity to a landlord, they could very well, I was going to use the word cave. I don't know that that's the right word, but there's an opportunity there. Day three, let's think about it. They will hum and hash over it. How would you do a specific listing as both MTR and STR if it's an unfurnished property? I think we covered this already. Guys, I'm not even going on that. Like, I'm not going to list my property as unfurnished. What I would do is put it in the database as unfurnished to get the conversation going. But then, because I know that there's specifically people on the other side looking for unfurnished properties, but then you could be like, just like the number that you put into the database, be like, is this the same rate? No. And by the way, we just got this property furnished. Is that going to be a problem? Like, let's start the conversation, right? And let's come back with this data. That's why I love all these masterminds. What Vivian did the other day, got us all together. Let's see what's working out there. This is new information. But for me, I want to stay in front of the opportunity. I want to have the conversation. And my conversation is not going to change because I have the product that I believe in. Now, what I am saying is, if you do have the opportunity, like myself, to have access to MLS, it might mean that when we're 100% occupied and there is an opportunity to look for my market, I might do a quick lookup and have this conversation with a landlord. To me, it's more, not less. I don't know. Call me crazy. I'm a little bit. Who else is abundant on this call? No. If they decide to do it, what's all this day 4, day 5? Are we, Vivian? I need a write up of this. This is good stuff. I feel like I'm reading a story in between all these other comments. If they decide to do it, they have to make repairs, turn on utilities, now mow the lawn. 100%. They're gonna have to set up all, and so I think what Vivian is highlighting is the downsides of. But see, the thing is, corporate's not thinking about the downside of the people. They're thinking about their bottom line. That's what ALE Solutions, what Vivian is highlighting right now, all valid points, is that this is why us positioning our short-term rentals as turnkey products is still a better product. Because, and honestly, if you guys have people that are walking your properties, you should always have someone there to maybe start selling to the person who's going to make the decision more. And by the way, what options are you looking at? Oh, we're looking at this such option. Awesome. Are they furnished? Yeah. It's no, they're not. Oh, no, they're not furnished. Oh my gosh. So you mean you're gonna have to turn on? This is what I would do. You mean you're gonna have to turn on utilities, internet, etc., and all, and you're in Georgia, so you're gonna need a pest control company. You're gonna do all that? Put that into perspective. I'm so sorry, but you have to sell your product. So I think what Vivian is highlighting is 100% right. That is the selling point, and maybe start putting that in your copy, right? And again, relocation specialists are just following orders. The homeowner is trying to follow a lifestyle. Ooh, should make shirts. All right, guys. I'll go. Oh my gosh. Day 5, clean furnish. Who makes final call on property? Alien or insured? The insured does, Kevin. I for sure have tried to convince landlords to rent for a short term. Tough sell. It is a very tough sell, Vivian. 100% right. It's hard enough. I was telling this on our mastermind call. It's hard to even find companies to even do B2B for single family. I feel like corporate, maybe it's better. When I say corporate, I mean apartments, because I was reaching out to these families and I was like, hey, like I work, like this is what I do. You can look us up. We are legit everywhere online. This is what we do. You can look up my stuff. Like literally, I'm a midterm rental specialist. This is what I do. I'm a licensed realtor, everything, and I have a company. This is what we do. These are our partners. And they're like, yeah, we don't work B2B. I'm like, what? Those are these management companies. Again, old paradigm. Why would you not work B2B? Who's making these rules? Are you trying to solve problems or are you not? Not maybe I get it. Actually, I don't get it, but you have your policies in place for a reason. But again, old school thinking, right? And then it's hard to have a backup plan as Sarah if you go unfurnished, need to go unfurnished as there is your backup. And then it's hard to have a backup plan as an Esther if you go unfurnished. Okay, I got it. Does this make sense? Unfurnished is an option mode, not default. Is that a question? Sorry, unfurnished is an option mode, not default. Yeah, exactly. I mean, unfurnished is is an option. Insurance companies never want to pay, period. That's a whole nother conversation, Melissa. This is well, see, this change though is not from the insurance company. Keep in mind, this is from ALE Solutions. This is the middleman trying to get more of the pie because this insurance space is growing 140 plus billion. For me, as someone who arbitrages and does MTR, this is an awesome way for me to offer something that can help families earn income. And then in the future, if I wish to furnish it later and enjoy the MTR model, 100%, Linda. If you present and furnish home, please ask the ALE rep. Pest control is a must, 100%. Who is responsible for when the garbage disposal isn't working? Oh my gosh. Vivian, we need to get you a list of like make furnish the combinations great again or something like that. Who's going to respond to the guest when there is a storm and the fence blows down? Who will pay for the utilities? How does the guest pay for example? These are all valid points. What happens if the dishwasher or any appliance break down? Yeah, now they got to find another handyman in their location. Like I would have that as a pitch for when the insured is walking your property. This is a great point that Vivian's doing. They forget it's hospitality, most LTR. Ooh, Vivian, you're on your soapbox, girl. Get him. We hear you loud and clear. Vivian, I'm on your side, okay? Shoot. Oh my gosh, good point. Setting up everything. People, I know they're good. Thank you again for putting that mastermind together. That was super fun. But I always get these questions. I think we covered some of them. You guys know which types of home this works best for. I think just using power rhetorical questions. Guys, any questions that you have? Because I want to answer your questions for those of you who are not in my mastermind group or haven't listened to the pod. So what Vivian is saying is that offering an unfurnished MTR means we wouldn't pay for internet and electric HCSC. No, right? There's no way you're calling me. Well, okay, there's two options here. It's not a yes or no, but let's run the scenario. You are 100% vacant. You're not furnished, so therefore you're not running a short-term rental. So you're not making any money, and your utilities and internet and water are on. You're just sitting empty, waiting for ALE Solutions to call you. See the scenario we're painting here? In what world, right? So now it might be for some of those rentals that are out there that still have the lights on, etc. But I'm not gonna offer to pay that. Like, no, like, why would you? Like, unless is there a reason you would offer that? Like, I'm not offering that. Right? It doesn't make any sense. Now, if they say, will it be turned on? Can that be baked in? Okay, then yeah, then bake it into your price. It's $6,000 a month. Okay, then they'll ask you, are utilities included? If you want utilities included, it's $6,500 a month. Cool. Maybe it's easier for the family, and you just made an extra $300 a month because you decided just, all right, fine, I'll turn it on. You probably have it already on in the first place, but I'm saying, why put yourself on the hook to pay it? Either, again, everything is a selling point. So if you are going to be unfurnished, which again, I don't plan on being unfurnished, unless I'm going to do an arbitrage, then I would find out what the expectations are with that landlord so that you can then factor it into your price. Everything is a negotiable. What happens if the home repairs are completed earlier than insurance expected and you got paid up front? What happens if the home repairs are completed earlier than insurance expected and you got paid up front? In my contracts, Justin, it's that money's not refundable, right? So actually, as a matter of fact, my contract, the way they're structured, no, I'm not going to be an asshole about it, but it's a contract, it's a legal document. When you sign that contract, I am due my money, period. We've been in a situation where the family's like, oh, this was a very complicated situation where they wanted to move out, etc. And we came down to an agreement, but I wanted at least the rest of my month covered, right? Because it's a business, right? It's not a free for all here. So keep that in mind. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. What other questions do you have? These are some of the ones. So if I've, um, did I miss any up here? Did you guys find any of this helpful? Drop it in the chat. Now, this is the part where I have my ulterior motives and I want to make people feel good and educated. So if I did, drop me in the chat, show some love, say it's great, say you the bomb.com, gonna sleep well at night. Yeah, hype me up. Hype me up. Vivian, I'm as good as my people. Vivian is a fierce operator in this space. Shout out to Texas. You guys make sure you follow Vivian as well. She's an amazing pioneer in this space, and we've kind of I've learned a lot from her. So it's always amazing to see us leaning into each other and helping each other. Way to go push us to focus on the paradigm. Yes, for sure. Guys, check this out. This book has changed my life. It's Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. That's just the surface of it. I'm deep into the rabbit hole. I have coaches that coach me around my mindset. I think there's no limit. That's why honestly, I'm so sorry. I don't see negativity. And it doesn't mean like I'm like oblivious to risk. It just means that what I look at, I focus on and I get. And if you look at this, I'm like, oh my God, scarcity less. I'm like, dude, opportunity. If you ever wanted to arbitrage, now is the time. Are you kidding me? You mean to tell me all guys, if you're as aggressive as I am, I'll speak to a homeowner once. He gives me the green light that he'd be interested. I'm dropping all of his properties or his or her properties into the database until I get a call. Why wouldn't I do that? Because when I get a call, I already got the green light. Then it's a slam dunk. Unless if it's not available, in worst case scenario, what happens? It's not available. So like literally, if you're a super connector, build your list of like 100 property owners are like, yeah, I'm interested in this. Now, again, education, what we're doing here, this helps because people can't do business with you if you don't understand how it works. But if you can show them what's happening in their local marketplace, you could very well even now, if they want a piece of pie, you could be a partner, consultant, co-host, or just people make you could be a lead. Guys, that's what they're doing. The middleman business, they're literally just finding a demand and the supply, and they're making money off the spread. Unbelievable. That's not the route we're going to go, but that's the route I see. And we will go there as the demand comes because we get a lot of demand, right? Because we have the relationship that we built, which I know I talked a lot about database, etc. I have a 2-day workshop that I'm doing for those of you who are interested. It's usually $2,000, but it is $697. We're going to do for 2 days. And my mastermind group folks, you guys know you have access. We'll be in there. We're constantly optimizing. I have so many gems of how you can actually apply this into your existing short-term rentals. The optimization now, it's key. There's a specific ways that you can duplicate your listing. There's a specific way you can optimize your profile. There's a specific way that you can actually reach out to your homeowners around you, / a specific way you can start entering your properties in a database to then start to get the best of both worlds, furnished and unfurnished. And obviously I'm already over time by 25 minutes, but I'm really excited to get to do the boot camp. Can we get recordings if we can't be there for during the boot camp? 100%. You get recordings for the boot camp. I'm actually going to drop the link in here. It's called Experiment. This is a special link, not public, just for you guys. MTR boot camp. I don't know why who types in URL still? Is this gonna work? Hold on, guys. Let me just stop sharing. Like I said, I had a call right after this. Let me drop the URL for you guys so you have the special link. But yeah, it's basically we cover everything optimization, because especially if you're in the short-term rental space, you're just a tweak away. And so it's in your best interest to actually here, I'll send you guys a special link here. Not share this with your friends. This is exclusive. There's a link. Awesome. Yeah, so I'm doing that for the next 2 days. For those of you who are in the mastermind, do it. But I give you guys a nice special discount, and I will also pick a scholarship that I will sign via email. And I will send as a token of my appreciation for your time. But this was super fun. Like I said, you're only a few tweaks away from getting more of these opportunities for me. in short, I see that there's more opportunities, not less. I see that there's an opportunity for us to continue to. One of my biggest key takeaways that I would say is you really want to foster relationships early, right? In your marketplace, and you want to be early because once everyone starts to do the same, then you'll just be another person in line. But when you do it early, then you'll have the relationship secured. And there's a way that you can actually optimize your profile so that you can actually get a bunch of inquiries the way we do and the way people in my mastermind do constantly is because you're properly optimized. And once they reach out to you, it's actually pretty nice, right? It's kind of like not having to ask the other person out, they're asking you out. That's how I look at it. I focus on a relationship specialist. I focus on fostering relationship with the adjusters as well directly, what to say when you're on the phone with them, how to actually have the conversation in emails to curate and turn it into relationships so that they continue to send you more deals. And that when you change your paradigm, you change your life. And when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So with that said, my job is done and yours has just begun. I am going to close this out. I see one question. Is there a certain platform you suggest to create a direct booking site? There's plenty out there. Like, I wouldn't say you have to go crazy and spend thousands and thousands of dollars. There's actually your property management software, PMS. It allows you to do direct booking. I'm pretty sure Housey does as well, but I would say PMS first. Keep your business lean. Like Guesty for hosts, that literally can push out and you can have a user interface. You can even integrate Stripe with it and then get Stripe payments, right? We use Boostly. Shout out to Boostly as well. But you'll pay a lot of money for that. And, I would say do it in phases. If you're at a point where you have tons of properties, you want to showcase them on a nice interface, use Boostly. Shout out to Mark Simpson. That's my guy. But it doesn't have to be that crazy. And we've actually taken a lot of bookings offline off of Airbnb platform, which we do talk about in the boot camp as well, how to do that. It's all branding. Everything's branding, how to get people to reach out to you. So cool beans. Are we good? I went a little over just because I wanted to answer as many questions as possible and hang out with my peoples. I always say if you did get a lot of value, drop me an email and say, hey, Ruben, this is what I got. And this is what I wish you would cover next time on a free webinar. And I will really, truly, gladly appreciate it. I know, Justin, you've given me feedback in the past. I'm still working on some of those items, so looking forward to it. And just like that, guys, for those of you who are interested in bootcamp again, I'll drop it again. Otherwise, I am out. Conquer the rest of your evening. And remember, my rule of thumb is you're only one experiment away from your goals and dreams. Cheers. Thanks, everyone. You too. Bye-bye.